Here's the deal. The women that level up in 2026 aren't waiting for January 1st. They own the fact that they are high value and they see themselves as privileged, which means that they are not giving up now in the last few weeks of the year, and they're not starting out their new year frantic because they know that every day has meaning. So they lock in now. So if that's you and you are ready to both end the year and start the new one with clarity, confidence, and momentum, this is the exact plan to make that happen. For years, I thought that waiting for January to reset was harmless, but in reality, I was avoiding myself. And year after year, I found myself repeating the same cycle where I wasn't getting where I wanted to be. And it was because I was constantly outsourcing my growth to a later date. Once I fully adopted what I call a privileged mindset, everything shifted. I saw my life change. I saw my life level up because I was just in this constant state of growing, refining, getting clearer, and becoming who it was that I wanted to be. Now, when I mention privilege, I always like to explain that this isn't about where you come from, but it's how you see yourself. That leads to how you show up for yourself and then the opportunities that result from it. It's the same with high value. If you see yourself as a high value and quality person, then you are, period. So let's just get right into it and not waste any time. The first thing that a high value woman does to end her year strong is that she audits her year with objectivity, not shame. I like to audit my life on a regular basis because it provides the most useful information, and it is such a great tool, especially at the end of the year. Whether it was a really great year and you accomplished so many goals, or there were a lot of hiccups and a lot of disappointments and you were just really ready to close the chapter on this year, it is really important to look back and see how time was spent. The wins, the failures, and really everything in between. The key to do this the right way, though, is not through guilt or comparison, but through objectivity. It is really easy for us to see all of the things that we got wrong, the bad decisions, the regret for time wasted, and then we get down on ourselves. We feel all of this shame for what was. But holding on to shame is not productive. Shame doesn't grow you. It actually shuts you down. It makes you hide from the very information that could be the thing that changes your life, which means that many times we often end up repeating those same patterns and self-sabotaging. But objectivity gives you something to work with. Here, you're not shaming yourself. You are simply gathering data. You are observing your life the same way that you would observe anything that you are genuinely trying to understand, with curiosity. When I'm doing this, I like to ask myself 3 simple questions. What worked? What didn't? Why? The first 2 are easy because they're just naming the things that are wins or losses. You might look back at your vision board or your goals from the beginning of the year, or some other method of just looking at what went well and where things fell apart. You notice patterns and recognize habits and remember the decisions that you made. All of that is pretty easy. The third one is the bigger one, and the one that probably takes a little bit more thought. Forcing yourself to unpack why something did or did not work is really going to give you the clarity to be able to see, well, is this something that I need to continue at the way that I have been going? Is it something where I need to just push it a little bit further? Or do I need to change this altogether? Without the why, you are just guessing your way into the new year. But with the why, you're moving with intention. You are understanding your patterns. You're chasing your habits back to their roots, and then you're studying the mindsets that actually led to different decisions. This information is gold because now you have some data for how to move forward. And I like to use this for both what went well and what didn't. So for example, I was really proud of the fact that I had gotten in a habit of moving my body in some way every single day, intentionally moving in some way every single day. It's easy for me to get in seasons where I just am not really feeling like exercise or my workouts. So I was really proud to see that, wow, okay, I've been on a roll. I've been on a streak and I'm here for it. When I really unpacked the why, I realized that it was a result of 2 different things. One, I stopped being so rigid just about my movement in general, about it needs to happen then, it needs to happen exactly like this. Let me just do it. Let me take off the parameters that I have put around it that make it so hard. I also became really intentional about attaching it to something that I want to do. So when I'm working out, I'm walking, whatever the case may be, I will watch YouTube videos or listen to a book or a podcast. And so it's something that I look forward to. So take a moment to audit your year, look at what went well, what didn't, and really unpack the why of those things. This is where December becomes your advantage. So while everybody else is throwing in the towel and just kind of sprinting away from the year that they just lived, you are learning from it. You're taking the lessons and you're pulling out the wisdom so that you can really start to see how you want to move forward. And that's what a privileged, high value woman does. She's not fearing reflection, but she's using it as fuel. Next up, decluttering physical, mental, and emotional space. Here's the deal. Privileged women do not end the year in chaos, but they make room for what's next. This means that we are not waiting until January 1st to suddenly try to overhaul everything. That is a recipe for getting overwhelmed and then not wanting to do it at all. Start clearing space now so that the new year feels like an expansion and not another emergency reset. You have heard me talk about this a lot because I preach it all the time. A cluttered environment leads to a cluttered mind. A cluttered mind leads to cluttered decisions, and cluttered decisions create a cluttered life. This is not about minimalism. And while I love a good aesthetic, it's also not about having a perfectly aesthetic home. This is about getting in alignment, making your whole life, your mind, your environment, your spirit, your emotional world align with who you see yourself as, the woman that you want to be. Here are a few things that I like to do that you might also find helpful. Clean the environment that you see first thing in the morning. Your mornings set the tone for how you show up. If they start out chaotic, then you internalize chaos. But when the first thing that you see and that you experience is order, it tells your brain, hey, we're chilling, we're good. Everything is safe, we're grounded, we got this. Clear out digital clutter. We underestimate how much noise digital buildup creates. I feel like I see it a lot more. I feel like I am hyper aware of it because I am using my devices all the time for recording, for editing, for connecting, all these things that I am doing. So I'm on it and they fill up really, really quickly, which means I cannot use them because they slow down. But also it adds to mental clutter. Old screenshots, random notes, thousands of unread emails, people that you follow that no longer align with who you are. Get rid of all that stuff. It's going to free up mental space. It's going to free up spaces in your devices. You will end and start out the year in the right way. And I promise you, you're just going to be so much happier. Also, letting go of draining commitments. I was just talking with one of my coaching clients about how proud she was of finally stepping away from some commitments that had drained her. And I was so proud of her too, because that's privileged behavior. That is a woman who realizes her time is valuable. She understands that saying no to the wrong things or no to the things that aren't right for her in the moment means saying yes to the things that are right for her and that do align with what she values. You cannot walk into 2026 as the highest version of yourself while simultaneously dragging everything that overwhelmed you and everything that drained the 2025 version of you. You cannot become the woman that it is that you want to be while carrying the weight of old clutter, old expectations, old habits, and old emotional burdens. I talk a lot about decluttering on my channel, and we know that decluttering is sometimes physical. Going through your closets or your drawers, clearing out your garage, throwing away or donating things. That's all physical stuff. But sometimes it's mental, where you're clearing out old narratives that you've outgrown. Sometimes it's emotional, where you are letting go of resentment or pressure or unrealistic standards that you've placed on yourself. Whatever the case may be, whatever it is that you are holding on to, decluttering is an act of preparation. It signals that I'm ready for something new. I am ready for something better. I am ready to create space for the life that I'm building. So many people are adding more to their plates during this time. More stress, more events, more tasks, and some of it is good stuff. I get it. I have a lot going on during this time as well. But a privileged mindset says that even in the busyness, you're intentionally making room. You don't have to wait until the season is over to get back in alignment or to start living in alignment. You create that now so that the new year simply just continues this momentum that you've already built. 3, treat yourself like someone worth investing in. High value women do not wait for someone else to validate them. They treat themselves like they matter. This is not in a performative way or a self-care Sunday or once a month type of deal. This is going to be in the daily foundational ways that set the tone for how you move through life. Many times we are thinking about habits and routines and discipline, and all of that's great. I love it all. I am here for all of it. But underneath every habit is a belief. As a privileged woman, you carry the belief that I'm worthy of being taken care of. When you believe that you're worth investing in, it's going to show up in even the tiniest of choices. You are going to nourish your body well because you want to feel energized and not depleted. You're not going to go through the rest of this year just eating crap for every meal because you don't want to feel like crap. You want to feel good. You want to feel energized, not depleted. Maybe you're upgrading your skincare and adding on extra layers of moisture because, girl, we be dry in the winter. This is not out of vanity, but because you deserve to look and to feel refreshed. You dress with intention and you comb your hair, even just going to the grocery store because you recognize that you're special and worth showing up for. And that's going to start with you. These are going to be the signals that tell not just yourself, but also the world around you that I'm valuable. I make myself a priority. One of the biggest places that this shows up is in the commitments that you keep to yourself. Keeping promises to yourself and showing up for yourself is one of the most underrated forms of self-respect. Many times as women, we will bend over backwards to keep commitments to everybody and everything else. But when it comes to ourselves, we just dip out, we bail. But privileged women know that your habits and how you treat yourself on a consistent basis, it teaches the world how to treat you. If you constantly cancel on yourself, you're going to get that mirrored back to you. But the opposite is also true. If you constantly prioritize yourself, that's also going to be mirrored back to you. So what does that look like, especially during the season? Maybe it is going to bed earlier because you want your mornings back. Drinking water instead of whatever the thing is that you're drinking that makes you feel sluggish. Maybe it's creating a small skincare ritual that makes you feel good during the winter time. Or maybe it's committing to a small workout each day because you know that your body is not meant to just be chilling out watching Christmas movies all day long. Protecting your peace and saying no to something, even if it means disappointing someone else, or giving yourself permission to enjoy things without guilt. These little habits and shifts that you make are going to carry so much power because they shape your identity. They help you to become a woman who just naturally makes choices from a place of recognizing her worthiness instead of neglect. For my life, and when I share it on videos, I always like to do a spiritual tie-in because it's really easy to not see how all of these things connect. God calls us to treat others well and to love others the way we love ourselves, which implies that we are innately going to treat ourselves well. I also see the other side of this as being the way that you treat yourself will directly influence how you treat others. If you are exhausted and neglected and overwhelmed and running on fumes, then you don't have any overflow to give. You can't fully show up for others well because you're not even doing it for yourself. So treating yourself well is not selfish. It is stewardship and responsibility and obedience to who you're supposed to be. Also, when you see yourself as someone worth investing in, you naturally elevate. You naturally carry yourself with confidence. You naturally start making decisions that match the life that you're building, that match the person that you want to be, that you envision. Revisit goals, but focus on the habits, not the results. Earlier, we talked about auditing the year, which you did. And you probably got to some goals that were important to you, but the results didn't happen. This is where a lot of women freak out at the end of the year, get down on themselves, and then sabotage their growth, sabotage any momentum that they could be making. And maybe you've done that before. Maybe you've been even a little bit tempted to do that lately, but we're not doing that. Not this year. As a privileged, high-value woman, your approach is going to be completely different. For the goals that you didn't meet, but that are still important to you, I want you to shift your focus to just the habits. This has been a game changer for me and has kept me focused and moving forward. Here's the thing. You cannot control the results or the outcomes of your goals. All you can control is what you do moving forward. All you can control is your habits, your consistent actions. What most people never learn is that you don't become your goals. You become what you do on a consistent basis. What usually happens is that most people see the goal, the desired result, then they see the gap and immediately feel discouraged. I should be further than this. I messed up again. What's wrong with me? Why hasn't it happened yet? Like I said before, that's not productive. When you audited your life earlier, you collected data. These were insights into what worked, what didn't, and why. Now, instead of hyper-focusing on what didn't happen, what you didn't accomplish, you take that data and you turn it into small, sustainable, and identity-based habits. Ask yourself, what can I consistently do and commit to that will move me toward this? If you want to be debt-free, the habit isn't pay off debt. That is the outcome. The habit is, I review my accounts once a week so that I know exactly what's going on. If you want to get healthier, the habit isn't start losing weight. It's I walk for 20 minutes after dinner. If you want to declutter at home, the habit isn't, oh, let's just organize everything. It's I put things back where they belong immediately. If you want a closer relationship with God, the habit isn't, I'm going to be more spiritual, but I'm going to spend 5 minutes with him before I grab my phone. These are simple, repeatable, and completely within your control. When you focus on the habit, you're not starting over in January or on Monday or some other arbitrary date. You're continuing who it is that you have already been becoming. That is how you build identity. It's how you build confidence and trust with yourself, which ultimately leads to change, which ultimately leads to the outcome that you want. If you keep going now in December, I promise you, you are not going to feel like a fraud trying to start over in January. Expect good. This is one of the hallmarks of a privileged mindset. It's something that sounds super simple, but it really does change everything. Now, when I say expect good, I don't mean in this delusional, positive vibes only type of way. It's going to be in a deeply grounded where I know who I am and I know how I move type of way. One of the biggest mindsets of high value and privileged women is walking through life assuming that good things are possible, not someday, but now. And not just for other people, but for them. When opportunities come up, they don't immediately think, well, why would this happen for me? They think, of course this could happen for me, because they're not living from a place of fear or waiting for the other shoe to drop. They live from a place of having confidence. If you walk into the next year, the next season, already expecting disappointment, assuming that things are just going to stay the same, already anticipating all of the hardship that you're going to have, you've talked yourself out of your desired life before you even begin. Expecting good is not about pretending life is perfect. You recognize that there will be bad days and that there are going to be moments that you don't get it right, but you give yourself permission to believe that things can be better than they have been. It is about recognizing that you are in constant growth and you're not the same woman that you were this time last year. Heck, you're probably not even the same woman you were this time last month. You've learned things. You've healed from things. You've grown. You've made room. You have built new habits and awareness. So yes, you can expect good. Expect opportunities and clarity and progress. Not because you're entitled, not even because you are so deserving because of whatever you bring to the table, but because you're prepared. And as a Jesus girly, I trust a God who wants good for me. I have always been a person who has been excited about new seasons and who believe that good things can happen. But I also used to walk into it almost bracing myself. There was a small part of me that expected some disappointments and setbacks and for things to go wrong because I had seen a lot of things go wrong, experienced a lot of losses and a lot of hurt, and I was scared. How we think matters, and I did a lot of work to change that because once I saw that I was carrying that kind of energy and mentality into how I approach life, just full of fear, I recognized that I was subconsciously not fully giving myself a chance at a different outcome. I was living and thinking from the past and from disappointment instead of from possibility and faith. Now, I walk into new seasons with this open posture, not being naive or unrealistic, just willing to believe that my effort and my growth and my preparation and my work and my faith are actually leading somewhere. For some people, it might sound naive or unrealistic or crazy because I have big faith, big dreams, big things that I see, but it's happening, so I'm sticking with it. And that's what I want for you too. You are not walking into 2026 as the woman who barely made it through 2025. Yes, that might have happened, but that is not the mentality that you are carrying into this new year. You are walking in as a woman who is fully ready to receive. You're ready for alignment. You are ready for ease. You are ready for opportunities that match the work that you've done on yourself. Start moving through life expecting good, and you will be amazed at how differently you show up. So if you are ending this year as a privileged, high value woman, you are reflecting with honesty, clearing space in your life, treating yourself like someone you are worth investing in, shifting from chasing outcomes to practicing habits, and most importantly, expecting good. And if you want a tool that's going to help you stay consistent with that all year long, I created the Declutter Your Life 2026 digital calendar exactly for that purpose. I intentionally designed it to help you to declutter your life and live with this privileged mindset all year long. Every month has a theme that supports your growth, whether it's your home, your habits, your mindsets, your emotions, your time, your schedule. It's simple and beautiful and structured, and it meets you where you are so that you can keep going forward without being overwhelmed. You can check it out using the QR code on the screen or linked in the description below. All right, my friends, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and share with someone who might also be helped by it. Also, if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? I'm gonna need you to jump on that. That is it for me. I love you so much and I appreciate you being here, and I will see you in my next. Mwah! Bye for now.